Hi, I'm Perry Black right here at Second Chance Youth Ranch TV. Thanks for joining us on this show. What a phenomenal time to be viewing as we have a special guest, Christy Irwin with Project Zero. We want to stamp out children in waiting by finding forever families for children that are looking for forever families. Don't go away. We'll be right back with our special guest, Christy Irwin with Project Zero. When I started the ministry that's responsible for Second Chance Youth Ranch, January 1st, 1988, I put on my day timer on every page of my monthly day timer, no retreat, no remorse, no regrets. I don't believe in looking backwards. I only believe in looking up and looking forward. I'm Perry Black, pastor of Family Church, founder of Second Chance Youth Ranch. Hi, I'm Perry Black right here at Second Chance Youth Ranch, and on this show, Christy Irwin with Project Zero is here. And Christy, we want to welcome you.
Thank you
and
so
I'm
much.
personally honored to meet you.
Well, goodness, thank you. I'm honored to meet you as well.
Second Chance Youth Ranch, you know Rachel Hubbard and Billy.
Yes, very well.
And our daily operations director, and they know you really well. So I know all kinds of things about you. But even today, I'm learning things about you I didn't know. And the purpose of this show today is for people that are watching all over the state of Arkansas and the surrounding areas, get to know the tremendous ministry that God is using you in called Project Zero. Yes. Before we get too deep in that, tell us about you. Where did you grow up?
Well, I actually grew up from birth to 15 in Oklahoma. And
City?
No, in Lawton.
I know Lawton, Fort Sill, Oklahoma, served in the Army there.
My dad did too, and that's where he met my mom, who was on staff at First Baptist Church there.
Your dad was in the Army at Fort Sill?
My dad was in the Army at Fort Sill.
What was he?
A sergeant.
A sergeant?
Yes.
And do you know what?
Artillery, I think.
Well, artillery, and I was in the 154th Aviation and Transportation Unit.
I don't
But
know.
that
doesn't
artillery.
ring a bell. Yeah.
Chinook helicopters.
Yeah. Oh, no. He didn't know helicopters.
He's on the other
for him.
side of the base.
Yes. He was marching, and anyway, they met, and they got married, and then they moved to Enid, Oklahoma.
I know where Enid is.
And when I was 8 years old, my dad was called into the ministry as well.
Wow, when you were 8.
When I was 8, and so both of them went back to First Baptist Lawton. My mom as the youth pastor and the pastor secretary, and my dad as a cutting edge, what was then called Christian Family Life Minister, which was all fitness and bringing the family in and ministering to the whole person.
Wow.
And so,
Spirit, soul, and body.
Yep. And
so did you have a family life center that
yes,
you kind of oversaw all the activities?
As he did, and he was still is very much of a visionary.
Wow.
And then when I was 15, he was called to First Baptist Little Rock. And so we moved to Little Rock, and he served on staff there for 27 years.
I hate to ask this question because I've been in Little Rock since I was 14. Where's First Baptist Little Rock?
It's at the corner of Pleasant Valley and Rodney Parham.
Oh, of course.
The living Christmas tree, that kind of thing. Yeah.
And Dr. who?
John Wright.
John Wright was there, and he was there with Dr. Wright.
He sure was.
Awesome.
Yeah, he was there for 27 years.
Great friends of mine go there.
Yeah.
And what a great, great church that is. And
so
your dad was there.
He was there. He, powerful, innovator, visionary, kind of outside the box thinker.
So where'd you graduate high school?
Parkview.
Parkview opened, I have a story for everything, everybody knows that. Parkview opened my senior year at Central High School.
Oh, wow.
1969 is when it opened. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, graduated from Parkview and then went to Oklahoma Baptist, and that's where I met my husband.
And Oklahoma Baptist, is that in OK
Shawnee,
City?
Oklahoma, about 30 miles this side of Oklahoma City.
Yeah, Arkansas Christian Academy, we would play in Shawnee.
Yeah.
Stayed there just a few months ago.
It's a great
state
place.
championship
Oh,
football.
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's changed a lot.
Yeah.
But so that's.
So where do you guys, you're married.
Yes, I am.
You got any kids?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. We've been married 36 years, and which I still feel like I'm about 36, so it seems weird. But we have 6 children that range in age from 32 down to 11, and so 4 of those came to us as biological kiddos, and the other 2 are adopted.
All right, now back up just a little bit, because you and your husband, y'all have had 2 children, but you've got 6 because 4 you adopted. But even before that, y'all were foster parents.
We actually began fostering when we had 3 preschoolers, and it was really interesting because we were kind of in a desert time because we had moved to Russellville and my husband was in banking, and after we got there, about 4 months later, the bank sold to another bank, as you can imagine, back in the day when that happened. And so we were kind of in a drought, just not knowing whether we were going to stay there, move back to Little Rock. And it was a drought and a desert time physically, but spiritually, it was a time of incredible growth. And it was during that time, one afternoon in January, when I was rocking my daughter, who was a year old, and my 2 boys were asleep in another room. And I was just rocking her, and I just began thinking about, how many kids didn't have that, and how blessed I was to have these children, and how a song just kind of poured out of my heart. And the Lord said to me, just in my spirit, He just said, it's time for you, my child, to do more than just say you're pro-life. The world has seen enough marching and picketing and judgment and criticism and condemnation, and what the world needs to see from you is action.
Yeah, solution. Put your life where your heart is. It's easy and even necessary to carry a sign maybe,
right.
But getting out there and doing something, I say faith without blisters is dead. I'm really interested in something you mentioned, that's a dry desert time. So if you're watching right now and maybe you're in a dry desert time, or maybe you're just in a time of questioning, we're going to come back in this next segment and explore that just a little bit and see how Christy and her husband and her family found God's leading out of that period of dryness. Because I know you're watching right now, and the Spirit of God is going to speak to you about how you can step into the living waters of Jesus Christ. We'll be right back.
Let us introduce you to Christy Irwin, whose deep love for children led her and husband Jeff to become foster parents in 1993. After fostering 11 years with a private agency, they parented for the Arkansas Department of Children and Family Services, fostering over 50 children during their 20-year span. Christy is the author of the book, The Middle Mom: How to Grow Your Heart by Giving It Away, a story of the culmination of years of seeing the heartbreak of children in need. Christy is the award winner of many Adoption Distinction Awards and has also been a founding member of The Call. She now serves as Executive Director of Project Zero and has a large, beautiful family.
Have you ever considered a Christian education for your child? Then you should check out Arkansas Christian Academy, Saline County's fully accredited premier Christian school at an affordable family rate. Students have opportunities to excel in academics, athletics, fine arts, and technology. And through our dual enrollment program, high school students can even achieve an associate's degree prior to graduation. Visit us at arkansaschristianacademy.org. Welcome back to Second Chance Youth Ranch. If you've just tuned in, man, do we have a great guest with a wonderful testimony of how God is using her, but also how God led her out of a dry time in her life. So Christy, if you would tell me again, in the last segment, you just mentioned that you guys were in Russellville, Arkansas.
Right.
Got wonderful friends and a pastor and wonderful churches there. But y'all were there. How many years ago about was that?
It was actually 27 years ago. During this month was when this call came.
For our viewers, explain, when you said y'all were kind of in a dry time, maybe emotionally and financially, but spiritually God was really speaking to you.
Right. I think it was more just the uncertainty, the insecurity, the unknown, the fear. We had 3 little children,
What had happened that created that?
It was the bank that my husband worked for was sold to another bank. He was in management. And so it was a matter of, are they going to let management go? Are they going to move us back? We didn't really feel like he would be let go, but we didn't know if we were going to stay there, if we were going to move back to Little Rock. So it was just a lot of unknowns.
Kind of trust in the Lord with all of your heart.
Right.
You know, that's a wonderful scripture.
Yes.
Unless you're in a dry time.
That is exactly.
And you're trying to figure out how does that work.
That's right.
So
what
happened and what did God do to kind of lead y'all out of that, back into that times of refreshing?
I think it honestly had to do with seeking. I really do. I think it was all about seeking. I think that was one of the most just profound times in my life of seeking God's will.
Yeah.
And so by that, I mean just, questioning, being open to, what do you want to say? Getting in the Word.
Was there a scripture that you found that really spoke to you? Or?
No, it was just more just in depth.
Sitting at His feet?
Yes, yes. And just, just listening and waiting and not acting until we knew, what the right response was.
And it's okay not to know.
That's right. That's
but
right.
Scripture says, seek the kingdom. And it also says in Jeremiah, call unto me and I'll answer you.
Right.
How did He answer you?
We got the answer obviously from Jeff's work where, you're moving back to Little Rock. And so we knew that was coming. And in the meantime, you kind of got these two things going at the same time. You've got this call on my life. So when Jeff came home that afternoon and I sang him this song, out of the blue. Yeah. I think he thought I'd been with preschoolers a little too long. But he said, what are you saying? And I said, we've got to do something. And I don't know what that looks like. So we just began praying. So in the meantime, we've got these two tracks going. We've got his career and we've got this calling. And so...
explain the calling.
The calling was just at that moment when I just felt the Lord impress upon me that it was time to not just be pro-life. That wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
That action had to come with those empty pro-life words.
Time to fight the good fight.
Yeah, and those words are empty. Anybody can say, don't get an abortion, but what are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
What are you going to do about it? And now on this other end, 27 years down the road, I know how helpless girls are.
Yeah.
I know how hopeless they are. I understand why they make that decision.
But there is hope.
But somebody's got to bring that hope, and somebody's got to be the hands and feet of Jesus in that, instead of criticizing and judging.
I say all of us can be philosophers for Jesus. We all have our own opinions.
That's right.
But world changers get up and do something. Mm-hmm. And the key to success is you find a problem and solve it. Mm-hmm. And that is what you've done. And you've been recognized nationally, and I know you don't want to talk about that, but you've been recognized throughout the state and nationally because of your advocacy for pro-life and for fostering and adoption. So at the time y'all were in Russellville, were y'all just had your birth children at that point?
Right, just 3 at that
time. 3
time.
of them. You have 4 birth children, but you also are a family of 6 children.
That's right.
So tell us how you went from fostering to adopting. We've got just a couple of minutes, so give me the Cliff Notes.
Cliff Notes.
And then we'll come back and expound on that.
It's definitely a Cliff Note. We moved back to Little Rock. We began praying through. I really thought it would be birth mothers because we had 3 preschoolers. It didn't make any sense that we would take babies into our home, but that's what God wanted. So when our daughter turned 2, we began fostering for a nonprofit Christian adoption agency. It was an incredible experience. And then years after that, as God prompted, we began fostering for the state of Arkansas.
Yeah.
And through the course of that, our son and daughter were added to our family.
Wow. And how old are they now?
They are 16 and 11.
Wow.
So yes, God has a sense of humor. I'm
what a wonderful
grandmother.
ripple.
Yes, yes.
You're a grandmother.
I'm a grandmother of 3. I'm a Kiki. I couldn't have an old grandmother name. So, and Jeff's Boomer, because he's from Oklahoma, so we have our house is Camp Kiki Boom Boom.
Yeah.
So just come on over and have some fun.
Your oldest child is how old now?
32.
Golly, and your youngest
is 11.
Is 11.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But your extended family goes way beyond those 6 wonderful children.
Yes.
And so somewhere along the line, you guys went from fostering for a long, long time to adopting forever, and now founding Project Zero, which is helping find homes for children wanting a family forever.
That's right.
And in our next segment, we're going to take a moment, we're going to explore that, and we're going to find out how God spoke to you and how He can speak to you and how you can be involved in changing lives one heart at a time with a gift, with a prayer, with a sign, or connecting with Project Zero and ministries like that that are changing lives forever. And you can be a part of the ripple. But let's turn the ripple into a Holy Spirit tsunami, and we'll be right back with Christy Irwin.
Project Zero is a 501c3 nonprofit with one goal, and that is to have 0 kids in foster care waiting to be adopted.
And we're hoping to have 0 kids waiting. That's our whole goal, Project Zero.
It means no kid is forgotten, and there are people always fighting for kids to find their forever family, no matter how old they are.
There's not awareness out there. I don't think people understand the need that we have here in our own state for these children who are wonderful children waiting for forever families.
We here at the Division of Children and Family Services, we recognize that we can't do this alone. Government can't do it alone. That while we're responsible for around 4,800 children in foster care, we need the help from the community. And so they're able to do work that we really can't do alone.
I think Project Zero is an important resource because we give these kids an opportunity to have a voice and a face, and I think without organizations like us, these kids would be forgotten.
And so I think it's important to capture these kids and their personalities and their stories so that families see them and can't just move on with their daily life, but they have to stop and pause and really consider how they can impact these kids' lives.
Every kid, no matter their background or what they've come from or what they've experienced, deserves a family to call their own, a place that they can come to and be accepted and loved and nurtured.
Project Zero helps inspire our workers to, see that happy ending for our kids when a match is made and families are formed.
And while they're waiting to find their forever family, we have lots of hope-building events, just so that they know that they're special and loved and cherished.
The foster care system, I saw the need of the kids that kind of got lost in the system that needed attention brought to them so they could find their forever family.
Without Project Zero and their ability to think outside the box and partner with us, then we may have more waiting children in Arkansas.
Arkansas needs an organization like Project Zero because it works. We are getting more and more children adopted each year.
It is just not right. And so that is why we do what we do. That is why we're fighting 24/7 to make sure that our kids are seen and heard with dignity and respect, that they have a voice, that they are able to speak their own truth, and that they know that they are loved and they are cared for, and that we want the very best for them.
Welcome back. Our special guest on this program is Christy Irwin with Project Zero, and I know a lot of you know her, and I know all of you know her now. But we want to talk about Project Zero. When did you found Project Zero?
In 2011.
So about 9 years ago.
It originated as the Pulaski County Adoption Coalition, and I began sharing that while we were fostering for the state. And then in 2011, I had written a book, and I was down in Austin at an orphan conference, and Jeff and I were in the audience and heard a pastor say that if Christians were doing what we're called to do, there would be 0 kids waiting to be adopted.
Awesome.
And he said that, the statistics should disturb and disrupt us. And
yes.
If they don't, that's a problem. So we got home and I could not shake that 0. And Jeff said, you just need to change the name of the coalition. let's call it Project Zero.
What a beautiful
And the
name.
coalitions had been, it was a grant, something, I don't know exactly, but they had all been kind of closing down after that grant. So it was just God's providence that we changed the name, we ramped up our efforts, we became extremely strategic in what we were going to do because we have one goal, and that's to have 0 kids in foster care waiting to be adopted.
What did you do professionally? Were you a stay-at-home mom?
I was a stay-at-home mom at that time. My degree's in sociology, so always had a heart and a passion for people.
Did you, when you were younger, did you see other people doing things and go, wow, aren't they great? Wouldn't it be great to do something like that? Did you
Not
ever?
really.
No?
Not really.
Just stay at home, take care of the family, serve the Lord?
I was a social worker for a while and just, different things. And so this was really an unexpected thing. It was surprising. And I think, that's key to when God calls us to do something. He calls us in our frailty, in our inadequacies, in our insecurities.
To confound the strong,
Absolutely.
and he uses the foolish, the least likely, to do the most unlikely.
That's right.
And there are people that are watching that they watch shows like this, and oh, isn't she wonderful? Isn't that great? But someone that's watching can make a difference.
Amen. I mean,
so how can someone watching make a difference? How many children are in the adoption pipeline in the state of Arkansas?
There are 363 kids whose parental rights have been terminated and who are waiting for a forever family.
And some of them are sibling groups, and some of them are individual students.
Right.
So let's just say all of them are individual students, no brothers and sisters. So a mere 364 viewers could complete the go of Project Zero, which is having 0 kids in the adoption pipeline in the state.
That's right.
I wonder how many churches are in the state.
I think around over 6,000.
6,000 churches, but only 360 some children need adoption. What if every church, small churches of 20, large churches of 10,000, every church had a single go, Project Zero?
Right.
We could change the lives forever of those 360 plus students and the ripple effect into the future. That's a doable thing.
It would be unprecedented.
But see, what we do is we watch and go, oh, that elephant's too big. Go into all the world. The world's so big, I'm just so small. It's not how small we are, it's how big God is.
That's right.
So how can it be done? Just 300 plus families.
Stepping out.
Stepping out. So how can they find out, Christy, about adoption? I know a lot of people think about it.
Right.
We all admire people that do it, but we all have a tendency to talk ourselves out of it because we think it's too big, too overwhelming.
And there are a lot of reasons not to. I mean, there really
Yeah,
are.
there really are.
There are a lot of reasons not to. But my heart says to me 24/7, these kids are worth it.
They are worth it.
They are worth fighting for, and what they've been through is not their fault.
Yeah.
They're not in foster care because they chose to be.
That's right.
And their families, their bio families deserve love and prayer and nurture. But they deserve to have the future God intended.
Yeah.
And so that's what we're fighting for. And so families, there are really a couple of ways to jump in there. First of all, I would say just set aside your own insecurities.
Yeah.
Leave that in God's hands.
What can Project Zero do to help people kind of get, it's the fear of the unknown.
Right. And there's a lot of unknown when it comes to this. But I think, reach out to us. We're happy to talk to you even on the front end. And just encourage you and point you in the right direction. You can go to an informational meeting through the call where you can get all of the info you need as far as there's no commitment, or go through DHS to get open if you'd rather go that route through fosteringarkansas.org. There are so many different ways that you can be encouraged and supported through that process. Yeah. And I think the bottom line, and I do tell people, it's not necessarily my nature to be, confrontative, but I feel like we have to realize it's not about us.
Yeah.
And so it is a pain, it is a process, it does take time, but these kids are so worth it. And so whatever we have to go through to do that, we need to do.
if you have any interest, just down in the depths of your heart, to consider adopting or fostering or mentoring. You know, when you're young, you don't typically jump in the deep end of the pool. You kind of get out into the waiting area, and then you maybe doggy paddle a little bit, and next thing you know, you're swimming. And at Second Chance Youth Ranch TV and Second Chance Youth Ranch, 2CYR.org, Rachel and Billy would love to hear from you. I know the information's on the screen and has been for Christy and Project Zero, but we're not going to ask you to jump out into the deep. Matter of fact, you know, when you're walking on top of the water, it don't matter how deep it is. And Jesus is challenging you to get out of the safety of the boat with doubting Thomas and Judas and get out on the water and make a decision to make a difference in the lives of hurting children. We can solve foster care and adoption in the state of Arkansas if we all work together.
That's right.
We look forward to hearing from you. I hope and pray that God is speaking to you and you'll reach out to Christy and Project Zero and pray for God to use us all working together, all the churches in the state and all the families in this state. We can complete the goal of Project Zero. No children in waiting. Every child in this state with a forever family.
Amen.
Thanks for watching Second Chance Youth Ranch TV. God bless you. I'll see you next time right here.
A mission field around you is filled with young hearts needing a forever family. And at Second Chance Youth Ranch, our team is committed to providing healthy, stable, loving homes and families to hurting children in the Arkansas foster care system and those up for adoption. Please contact us if you feel the tug at your heart to help foster or adopt, and find out the steps you could take to help fulfill a child's lifelong dream. Maybe you can't foster or adopt, but you could help. The need for thousands of children in the system is staggering. But with the help of faithful partners and business alliances, we are meeting those needs right now. Would you help us make a difference? Every gift, regardless of size, impacts a child's life directly and helps provide for a home in the gap right now. Visit the Second Chance Youth Ranch website at 2CYR.org to read more, watch the stories, and to make a contribution for a hurting child's care. Monthly partners are needed, so please contact us right away. And as you partner with this ministry, you are partnering with the Heavenly Father that has promised to be Father to the fatherless. God bless you for helping Second Chance Youth Ranch.